We'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the August 9th County Commissioner meeting. It's good to have you all here, and we're grateful to have a bright, sunshiny day. We're going to start this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance by Christy Bingham, an invocation by Duncan Olson. There he is over there. And the thought of the day by our infamous Commissioner, Gage Frohr. So, Christy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear, kind, and gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for this day. We're grateful for the country that we live in. We're grateful for the many blessings that we receive and truly have in our lives. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the moisture that we have received. Grateful for the fact that it continues to help us in filling our reservoirs, keeping our pastures green and our gardens green. Please bless as we go throughout this day that we'll be able to continue to strive to be better. Please bless the commissioners that they can continue to lead and direct us in the proper way, that they might be able to keep us going in the right direction. Please bless these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, I don't have any prepared thought, but as I was driving down the Ogden Canyon this morning, I heard, listening to Garth Brooks, one of my favorite songs he sings is "If Tomorrow Never Comes," and it kind of made me think this past week of I've had two friends both get in accidents, one on a motorcycle, one on a bike, canoe e-bike. The friend on the motorcycle is lucky to survive, but he did make it. The one on the e-bike was not quite as fortunate and ended up passing away after an e-bike accident. So I think we need to remember that life's fragile. As my grandpa used to tell me, there's two big events. First big event is when you're born. The next big event is when you die. Everything in between, really, you can just live with, and it's not that big a deal. So let's remember that as we treat each other every day, as we respect each other, as we communicate to the public, that it's not that big of an event. We can get through it if we work together on this. So that's my message. And remember those that you go home and let them know you love them, because tomorrow may never come. So that's my thought.
That's a great thought. It's not that big a deal. That is really good. All right, we will go to agenda item E on our agenda, which is public comment. If there's anybody here who would like to comment on agenda items, we'd love to hear them. Now would be your time. Stand up and come to the podium. Okay, nobody's coming forward, so we'll go to item F, which is our consent items. The consent items today are first items are approval of the warrants that are listed today in the amount of $1,839,614. Second item is approval of purchase orders in the amount of $299,723. Ricky, would you give us a summary of those?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We issued 20 purchase orders this week for $300,000. 31% of that amount, or $93,000, is for the library, which will purchase e-media, do landscaping work, and building maintenance. 25%, or $75,000, is for the Weber County Fair, which is almost exclusively advertising. And then two items at about 15%, or $45,000. One is for the Homeland Security Department to purchase radios, and the other is for IT, which will purchase network equipment. As far as checks this week, we issued 238 checks for $1.8 million. Just over half that amount, $997,000, is the employee health and dental insurance. 10%, or $178,000, is for the jail to purchase gate and fencing, as well as food for inmates, gloves, utilities, and public relations. We had 2 items at 9%, or $165,000. One is the county fair, which was primarily for entertainment, and the other is for the library, which will go towards the amphitheater and building canopy at the Southwest Branch, as well as books and materials, software, and building improvements.
Very good. Questions?
None for me.
All right, I'll continue on. Item 4 is a request for approval of the HCH payments to U.S. Bank for $245,865. Item 5 is a request for approval of new business licenses. Item 6 is approval of the minutes for August 2nd meeting. Item 7 is approval of the to sell surplus property as identified, parcel 04022-0016. I tried to get on and look at that and I couldn't get that to download.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Either of you have questions on that one?
Couldn't get it to come up.
Yeah. Item 8 is request for Weber County Transfer Station to approve the surplus of a 2000 Ford F-650 dump truck. Item 9 is a request for Weber County Library for approval of surplus equipment. Item 10 is a request for Weber County Library to surplus a Suzuki Sidekick, a Tacoma pickup, a Ford Econoline F-350, I think that's a van, and a Kubota tractor. Once again, I tried to look at those and couldn't get them to come up either. I mean, I could get it downloaded the page, but it never showed a picture of them.
Yeah.
Item 11 is a request for Weber County Fair Department for approval of contracts by and between Weber County and Marco Barrientos for the 2022 Weber County Fair Junior Livestock sale as a judge. And that is the consent items. Questions on those?
Rather robust but not insurmountable.
That is true.
Motion to approve consent items is presented today, Mr. Chair.
Whoa.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve the consent items. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. They're approved. All right, we'll go to action items. I'm really looking forward to this item right here. Item G1 is a request for approval of a scope of work agreement by and between Weber County and the Department of Workforce Services regarding implementation of the ICANN model, developing a coordinating system within the county to address the needs of TANF-eligible families, and this is intergenerational poverty.
Wow.
So this is what we've been working on, and this is the culmination of 4 years of work for Melissa Freegang and myself and IGP, and this is an amazing moment. Melissa, we'll go ahead and turn that over to you, and you can
Looking forward to
explain
hearing
what's happened here.
Yeah, and is it okay if I hand you guys the one-pager that I created?
In fact, and while you're doing this, we would really like it if you'd introduce the folks you brought with you today.
Thank you.
So thank you. I have invited a lot of our partners, our families, because I know you don't want to hear from me necessarily, but I did build the one-pager. It was the request when I presented to you guys in the director's meeting, the statistics that I quoted, and they're all here listed down. And I just want to, before I introduce, we have Nicole from the Department of Workforce Services, and she'll come up and just visit a little bit. She's the assistant director for DWS over the TNF programs. And then we will have 2 families come up and talk about their experience. We have more than 2 here, but they don't want to speak today, which is completely fine. But I just want to talk about their resilience and courage. because the system that is in place, as you guys know, is really difficult to navigate. There's a lot of services, and the partners that are here today have just been integral. So we don't have duplication of services happening here. We don't have people missing what they don't need. And if you look on the statistics, we average 27 agency partners that are around our families, helping them move forward on anything that our families need. So we do baseline in our measurement tools, and they're listed on the back of the sheet for you. And then we just measure families against themselves. So we don't compare and contrast them against anyone else. This isn't about anyone else. It's for each family when they enter the program, and they get a resource integration coach. So I would love my resource integration coaches first, if that's okay to stand up. I would love everyone to see them. They're pretty amazing women in their own right, and they have been successful in their own lives, and that's what they bring to the table with clients. And they have relationships.
Let me interrupt just 1 second here. I had the chance the other day to go down and sit and watch one of these gals work and navigate through the system and watch what they did. And it's truly a labor of love what they do. And from my heart, I appreciate you.
Thank you. And then I would love for all of our partners to stand. And if you would like, they can yell out where they're from, if you would like that. So all of our partners, if you guys could rise, pretty please. And if you could go around the room and just talk about your organization and what you do with our resource integration coaches. So.
James Ebert, Boys and Girls Clubs. I'll be talking to you later about a $2 million ask. I'm just we provide very specific service for youth and after school and additional educational opportunities and addressing social and emotional challenges that youth have.
Thank you.
We're founded with the Foundation. We'll be working closely with us for team to look at youth programming and community collaboration.
Hi, Lisa Coleman with Lantern House. I'm with the Family Housing Department, children with the Individual Housing Department.
Thank you. Rob?
I'm Rob Lukow with the Department of Workforce Services. I'm the coach's point of contact for all things DWS related to Morgan and the region.
Thank you.
Agnes McDonald and Andrea Withering with Weaver Adult Ed, and we have the pleasure of having one of the amazing resource integration coaches embedded in our staff to help our students or adults that are striving to accomplish and complete their high school diploma and GED connect to other services as needed.
Cody from Outcast. We help with housing, getting people moved in, and the
Thank you.
I'm Chris. I'm with the Lantern House. I do the street outreach, and I do homeless prevention, working with families that we have housed.
My name is Louie, and I am the Peace Manager and Family Peace Manager for Lynn. And my name is Rochelle Florence, and I'm the Family Case Manager at Lantern House. Yes, and we work really close with all the resource integration coaches once we get our family's house. So very excited.
Thank you. So, Commissioners, as you can see, really it's about the human relationships and the social capital, which is really super important. And it's around not just providing, say, 5 weeks of services, but working with these agencies to do, not only the intervention, but kind of the postvention, or what they call that. So it's over time. So it's not just about self-sufficiency or economic stability. It's about resilience, because we need to change the cycle for the children. So with that said, if you don't have any other questions, I would just like to point out the average annual increase of our families went from $10,800 annually to $28,735. So, and that's on average for the families that we employed. 66% of our families have gained full-time employment. We also have, of course, our partnership with Western Governors and all of our post-secondary institutions. So in our Weber County IGP statistics, we have 0 post-secondary degrees. That's our statistic, is 0. In our IGP families, our ICANN families, there's a 45% post-secondary enrollment. So they're doing fantastic. You're going to hear from 2 of our families, but first I'd like to introduce Nicole to come up and say a few words, and then I'll introduce our families, if that's okay.
Yes.
Great,
that's
thank you.
Welcome, Nicole.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me come and join you for a minute. As Melissa mentioned, I'm Nicole Tilka with the Department of Workforce Services. I am one of our assistant directors in our Workforce Development Division and assistant overseeing TANF, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Family program that the Department of Workforce Services administers in the state of Utah. So TANF is a federally funded grant that each state receives, and the Department of Workforce Services administers that program for the state of Utah. As part of that, there is a required cash assistance program that each state administers, and we administer that through the Department of Workforce Services. And then based off of appropriations from the legislature or our TANF spending plan, we allocate other TANF funds, which is the case for the Weber ICAM program. The funding for this grant was allocated in this last legislative session for the Weber ICAM program. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. But
No.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nicole. We appreciate that.
So Commissioners, in the last 3 years, we've raised $4.5 million for this work, specifically for ICANN. And that's both the TANF dollars that we have had over time. Remember, we did the first pilot program with the implementation dollars through the legislature. And then we had a 2-year grant, which was TANF. And then we just renewed. So we're moving from a $500,000 grant over 2 years to a $3 million grant over 3 years. So we're really proud. We're super excited to scale the program. I would love for our families to stand up as a whole. Great. Thank you so much. And if the 2 of you who are comfortable talking, if you'll come down here. And while they're coming down here, Commissioners, I just want to share, we're really focused on our employer partners now, and not just placing people in jobs, but having our employer partners come to the table as partners. And we're really excited. Northrop Grumman is at the table, and they're willing to do, NG Kids. And we're working on a lot of programming where they're getting them into Northrop's site, doing tours and doing hands-on and getting them interested in careers. And that's the magic of the program, is that it's all human to human, one by one, whatever their interests are, and it's all about empowering them. So with that said, that's the end of my presentation, and I would love for our families to talk about their situations and whatever they would like to talk about.
So if you could, would you introduce yourself so we know who's speaking?
Absolutely. My name is Nathan Fernandez, and I was up a bit late last night, so I'm a little bit loopy, but I will do my best to articulate myself as best as possible. I have a lot to say about this program, if that's okay. See, about 2 years ago, when the whole COVID pandemic started really hitting the world, I experienced a very serious issue in my household, which led to divorce and a broken family and a near-death experience. I am a survivor of suicide from having untreated depression, PTSD, and anxiety issues. For several months, I just existed on a friend's couch, and I didn't have the ability to get myself treated for my mental issues on my own, for my physical impairments resulting from the injuries I had caused to myself in 30 minutes of insanity. And I had heard about ICANN, and I got a hold of Wendy and Juliet through the ICANN program, and I asked what my options were. Through their assistance, I was able to understand how to apply to certain things that I was absolutely needing. I was able to get on Medicaid. begin weekly therapy sessions for my serious issues that I had neglected for many years that led to that event. I had no food, and they had helped me get food through Catholic Community Services. When I explained the situation that I was existing on a friend's couch and trying my hardest to get out of there but saw no way out, they explained that the rent relief program was available. And when I thought it didn't apply to me, it turned out that they were more than willing to hear me out despite me not having a place my own yet. They helped me get into a new place when I explained my situation. And after a time, I had gotten, I had injured my wrist severely when I had attempted suicide. My grip strength was down to 20-pound grip strength. It was basically useless. Over time and therapy, I was able to get this wrist now is just on par with my right, and that is a miracle to me. I was able to rehabilitate myself physically and mentally, and not only that, I was able to seek assistance using their guidance through Department of Workforce Services. They helped me get a bus pass. They helped me get transportation that way. I was made aware of a job that would take me despite my mental impairments. I was able to be employed for twice what I had ever been employed for before. It's $16 an hour to me is a fortune, and I never thought that that would be possible. None of that would have been possible had I not known those resources were out there. I feel that I'm skilled with the internet. I feel that I'm skilled with being able to look up information. And I felt powerless in this time of struggle. And if I didn't have the help that I had today, I don't know if I would be here. I don't know if I would be able to provide a safe, stable household for my children to come to every other week, so that although we're divorced, they have a nice, healthy environment in both households that supports positive growth. And I don't know if I would have had any sort of mental equilibrium, financial stability, anything to offer my children, despite my best efforts. If it weren't for them, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. And I know there are many people who have similar stories. And whether or not they could come here today, I'm sure they're just as grateful as I am. And I just wanted to say thank you for being willing to fund a program that is led by people who actually care.
Thank you, Nathan. We really appreciate those comments.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Liz Morrison.
Pull that mic down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm Liz Morrison. I have been a part of the ICANN program for the past 2-3 years. I've worked very well with Wendy. She is delightful, and she's helped me find the resources in the community that would help our situation and our family. I can proudly say that I am a recent graduate from BYU, Idaho with my bachelor's degree and ready to start a job search. Also, my children are ready to pursue their pursuits. My oldest just graduated from from Beth Lomond High School. He has a great job and at Costco. So if you're ever in search of a TV, go find Gray Morrison. He'll help you out. And he's on par to get his associate's degree within the year. We're very grateful for our resources. I've been able to also, as in my job, help refer a lot of other people to this resource. And because of my experience with it, I can speak to it and speak to the genuine help that it provides our community. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. We appreciate that.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Winters, and I think it's been about a year, maybe, I've been working with the ICANN program. I was referred by my bishop. I'm a single mom of twin boys that are 15, going into 10th grade. One has autism, and he's going to be going up to New Ames this year. I'm going to start college classes. But I've worked for Intermountain since 2011, and since working with them, I've got a different job that I actually went to school for nearly a dozen years ago. I'm making $5 more an hour than I was, and not hurting my body doing housekeeping. You know, sorry. It's very rare to find a program and people like this, and I really consider them my friends. You know, this is a amazing program. I'm gonna take the Own in Ogden home buying course this next month, which is exciting and new, and I would not be doing that if it wasn't for them. You know, you make things better by making yourself better, and this program's the embodiment of that. My children have been going to Boys and Girls Club this summer, and that wouldn't have been possible. They would have been staying at home playing on the Xbox, you know, until I got off work. And they actually want to go back during the school year. So that's very impressive for some teenage boys to want to continue a program. But it's a phenomenal program, and anybody can benefit. That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Stephanie allowed me to sit in on her onboarding when she came to the program. And I was just very, very impressed with the process and how it happened. Melissa?
Yeah, I was just standing up in case you had any questions.
Well, I have several things I'd like to say. Number one, this program originally was started by Commissioner Ebert. Way back before I came, he was involved in a vision to start this, and I got thrown into it later. Melissa was hired just prior to me coming, and this program, ever since I've got here, the push has been to see if we couldn't implement this program at a much larger level. We've been able to, she's been able to get 40 or 50 families at a time in there and serve 100 or 150 people. But we've never been able to, I told her before I left, I'd like to get this program to a point where I could feel it, where I could feel a large enough group that we could actually feel the difference in the community. And we've been to the state many times, and they promised and promised, never delivered. They never delivered. When it come right down to the night before, you know how that goes, Commissioner, for when you're cutting down there, you look down and say, well, there's money, they don't need that, they'll have to do without it. And Melissa always got her funding cut the night before. And then you try to find out who cut it, nobody will tell you. Anyway, but this year she finally got it. And it came through TANF funds that are hard to work with, but she figured she could do it. And this will allow us to take this program to a level it's never been before. You can see what she's done here with $250,000. That's half of the $500,000 for 2 years. Well, now she's got $1 million a year, so she can 8 times per program. And this will allow us to serve hundreds of families and maybe 500 or 600 people. Well, that's something you're going to be able to feel. You're going to be able to feel that in the community when something like that happens. And it's an amazing thing to sit and watch the magic of this process that she's created, where resource integration coaches get together with these folks and help them walk through these difficult barriers, I guess would be the way to call them, huh? You don't view them as much barriers to some, but to other people, these barriers are monstrous. They just are They just can't get through them. And this allows us to help these folks through those barriers. And as you can see, they become very successful once they can navigate those barriers and work their way through. It's just, the system's tougher than you think. DWS has done as much as they can. They've done major things down there to improve it. But to some people, it's not enough. It's just too hard. And for this, I'm very grateful for Melissa and her desire and drive to keep this alive and keep it going. And frankly, when it comes to funding from the state, intergenerational poverty across the state, for all intents and purposes, has died. The program that Stuart Reed started and got going, Melissa is the last survivor of that program. And as you can see now, she's really not even using IGP funds anymore. They're all gone. She's using TANF funds to do IGP work. But this is the chance now that I've been wanting. Since I've been here, I've been wanting the chance to try to scale this now. And this is Melissa's chance to scale it. She's got $3 million here. And I'm so hopeful that, well, I hope to be involved with this a little more in the future. And I just have high hopes that we can push this along and scale it. And you'll see this room filled with folks in the future that will be affected, and hundreds and hundreds of families that will be able to get off intergenerational poverty, off support, and on to living a very fruitful life. That's the goal, and I'm way excited about it. So I appreciate Melissa and all your efforts.
Thank you.
Questions from either on this?
No question to comment, if I might,
Please,
Mr. Chair.
Please.
So I just want to thank Melissa for the efforts that we've seen, and especially you, Chair Jenkins. As you well know, when this program, we started talking about this 4 years ago, I wasn't the biggest cheerleader because I questioned the possible outcomes. I'm an outcome-based guy. That's what I've always done. And I've always said, show me the outcomes before we spend government dollars on a particular program. Well, you've convinced me with your leadership, and Melissa, the people here today. This is something that that we as a community, really as the state and as people in this country, as we raise each other up. And we do that by not giving a hand out, but giving a hand up and lifting them up from wherever they were to that next level, gives them the opportunity to succeed. I hear the incomes that have gone from $10,000 to $28,000. That's an outcome.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And to me, that's the proof's in the pudding. And I would say congratulations to all. This is something that needs to continue. And I would hope that we could spread this, and we've talked about this before, this could be a model for the entire state. And I would agree with you, Commissioner Jenkins. We have a hard time selling this at the state, but if those state legislators could be in this room this morning, I think we might change some viewpoints. So you've changed mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Farr.
Mr. Chair, a point of personal privilege. I'd like to hear from, I've got a little note up here from former Commissioner James Ebert, who now represents the Boys and Girls Club, to give just a short remark. Is that okay?
Sure. I'm fine with that. Anytime we can hear from James
He's a great rule follower.
He's a legend here.
Yeah.
So I've had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time with Melissa over the last couple of years. And we've had some good conversations, but before I get to those, I just want to express my appreciation to Commissioner Jenkins and to Commissioner Farr, because I know that I've spent so much time with Jim that he understood the program right out of the beginning. But it is a different mindset, and it is a different change. And to adopt the program and then build it out, my congratulations to you. And I would really encourage, as Commissioner Jenkins moved to the next phase of his life, that there's some passion to continue this program. And my remarks today are going to be into how that happens. I think there needs to be a mind shift and moving it away from intergenerational poverty and into economic development. The ability to capture those who we've lost for generations into our workforce, into our communities, helping them to improve their quality of life, which improves our quality of life. And so maybe it's time for us to really start having some conversations that it's not about a social service issue. It's about a quality of life issue. It's about an economic development issue. And it's about capturing those who we've lost over time. And really when we look at workforce development, right, we look at affordable housing, we look at all of these challenges we have, maybe it's time for us as Weber County residents and as political leaders to move the conversation away from a social service mindset to an economic development mindset, to a Beatles ask rather than a social service ask. Really, we've lost generations of individuals into our community. And I would suggest to you is now's the time for us to say, listen, let's find a way to recapture those folks. Let's bring them back into the fold. Let's give them quality of life. And so as you maybe move to your next leadership summit, so to speak, from commissioners, maybe there's a concept that we're going to look at economic development under community development, because community development's about quality of life. And then a program like this just becomes part of a county fabric. What you will see, in my opinion, is your community, and whether it's the Gold Foundation or OCAP or Boys and Girls Clubs or others, really looking to expand the services because there's such a huge need, and really wanting to partner with the county to accomplish that. So I would just like to say again, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Jenkins, for taking the lead on this. Thank you for pointing the sharpest spear I think we have, Melissa, because she's good at jabbing that spear to elbow her way into a conversation, and really provide that leadership at a state level that says, hey, now's the time for us, and Weber County is going to lead the way. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the time to say something to you.
Thank you, former Commissioner Ebert. We really appreciate you and those remarks. You had a little bit of this vision in the beginning to start this, and so we were just following up your lead.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Well, Melissa, that finishes that, so we're ready to act on this if you have nothing else to say.
No, I just want to thank everybody in the room behind me. It's not me, it's everybody that's standing behind me and stood up and talked today. So
that's true.
And
but
thank you for you guys and your leadership and your support, because
there is a vision here, though, that
yeah.
And James touched on this. So many times the federal government gives us money, and the state passes those dollars through, and it ends up being just a financial handout program. And that's not what this program is. This never has been. This is as Commissioner Forrest said, this is a hand-up program to help people. And the results are major because of this. And me and Melissa used to get down there and we'd draw a line. And we'd have ends of it. And we'd call that line the continuum upon which people are working. And people enter this program and exit this program at different stages on that line. We were arguing. We would debate this. Her and I do this. And on that line, nobody ever gets to the end. There's never 100%, because people get to a point where they're happy with their success and they exit. And they exit at different times. Our goal, of course, is to get them to exit with successes, right? Not because they're tired of a program, but because they've been successful in it. And that's what she's demonstrating here in this one pager, is the fact that when they exit with successes. And of course, when you have successes in your life, you continue. You want to move on because you're a successful person, right? And you've experienced successes, and it gives you the confidence to continue on. A lot of people lose confidence if you've had some non-successes, if you've had things that have been unsuccessful in your life, as Nathan said, then a lot of times you just stop and you say, well, I can't do this. I'm unsuccessful. And that's not true. We're all successful at different levels. We just need to get back to being successful. So anyway, I just can't say enough about this program. It's at my heart. You look like you want to say something, Commissioner. You were writing something down there.
I just notes.
Oh, okay.
Just writing notes. Thank you.
That's good. Well, good. Well, if that's the case, then let's go ahead and do the business part of this.
Commissioner, could I actually say one thing? Sorry,
please.
I apologize. You don't get this chance very often.
Yeah.
So I would like to just point out that this is one program, but this isn't, the silos that a lot of people want to put people in. So it's not that these families are just this label or this label or this label, right? They're all people. And when we talk about recidivism or people who are justice involved, or we talk about people who are, fighting substance misuse and those sorts of things, they're all the same people, right? They're overwhelmed, they're struggling. And, the families, some of them that come to us, they come to us in really dire straits. And we had a family come to us that we couldn't serve, where there's child trafficking happening, and we alerted the Ogden Police. It's really hard work. It's emotional work. And I think that a lot of individuals in the community over the past 3 years, James joked about me poking, and I think that on a personal level, I think sometimes other agencies that don't understand what we're trying to do and really look at the systems and the root causes to remove the barriers so that people can, like you've just witnessed, they're energetic. They want to do good. They just have handcuffs on them because the system has barriers. So when we start to look at systems, and Commissioner Frower, we're looking at the criminal justice system, and we're going to be mapping it and looking at data. And I think that can be threatening to a lot of agencies that do services on the back end. And you can't do this work without the services on the back end. So it's not taking away from the great partners and the services that they each provide. It's actually providing an environment where people can all come together, and each agency then has better outcomes as well to then improve their programs and their services. So this really is inclusive, and I've gotten a lot of pushback personally. Commissioner Jenkins has gotten a lot of personal. It hasn't just been professional, sorry. It's been very, very personal. And I just want to take the opportunity to say we've done the economic modeling. It is a 1.5 return on investment, $1.50 for every dollar invested in a 12-month program. That's not considering the generational impact. So we have the outcomes, and we have the numbers, and we have the economic development strategies now ready to go. And I just hope that the pushback, I just appreciate you guys, and as we move forward, Commissioner has been at the front lines and with the bulletproof vest on, and I just appreciate both of you also supporting the program, and hopefully moving forward, that hardship and that pushback will stop, because everybody will understand that what we're trying to do is just create a more synergistic environment for everybody to be inclusive, to help everyone, including the agencies. So thank you for letting me just throw that out there.
Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate you. All right, the action item is a request for approval of scope work agreement by and between Weber County Department of Workforce Services regarding implementation of an ICANN model, developing a coordination system with the community to address the needs of TANF-eligible families. So with that, I need a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve that with the comment, if I might.
Please, please.
And I appreciate former Commissioner Ebert. He hit it right on the head. This is about economic development. This is about putting people in the workforce that we need so aggressively here in Weber County in the state, and give these folks the opportunity to succeed in this community. So I'm happy to make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second with a comment.
Yes.
I appreciate the work and the sentiments that you shared, Commissioner Jenkins. I know that you passionately care about this program. Yeah. It's been evident within the office and behind the scenes, and your efforts have gone a long way with me. Appreciate, Melissa, your work. Back there in the back, there she is. but also the partners that have been here. Thanks for supporting her. I know that you've come because you are supporting her, and thank you. But especially Nathan, Liz, and Stephanie, and the others who didn't comment. Thank you for being vulnerable today. It's kind of scary to get up and talk like this, but I appreciate your vulnerability and coming forward and sharing those. That helps me as I make decisions independently here on the commission, so appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. It's approved. Thank you.
Great job.
So, you know, one of the things I want to say here, we appreciate DWS and them giving a specific person to us to work into this program, because that makes a big difference when these resource integration coaches can go in and see a specific person every time. Then there's no necessity for reintroductions and all the things that go with it. You know who we are and we know who you are, and the work just starts instantly. And we really appreciate it. You are a huge part of this program, and we appreciate you and the other partners working on this level, because it makes the resource integration coaches more successful. So thank you. All right, we'll move to the next item. Item 2 on the action items, approval for agreements on the American Rescue Plan, ARPA agreements that we've recently gone through. These are our subrecipients, and they are Bonta Vista Water Improvement District, Green Hills Water and Sewer District, Liberty Pipeline, Ogden Nature Center, Taylor West Weber Water Improvement District, Uinta City, Weber County, or Weber Basin Water Conservancy District, Weber Housing Authority, and Youth Impact. Sean Wilkinson.
Thank you. So commissioners, late last year we put out an application process for interested entities to apply for these ARPA funds, which came through the federal government, and we received over 30 applications. So today we are funding several of those that commissioners have made decisions on. And as you read those, Commissioner, these are for various projects from water, sewer improvements, infrastructure within our community, and also some housing projects, as well as some social services. So broad use of these funds, but very needed in the community, and we received about $50 million in funding, so there are still some decisions to be made. This agreement essentially outlines how the funds can be spent and the way that the county will disperse the funds and what the subrecipients have to do to comply and ultimately use the funds and then report on how they use those funds in compliance with all of the regulations that the federal government has established. So that's the basics of this, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions? We've been through this I don't know how many times. If I wouldn't think we'd have any questions left.
None. Motion, if you're ready.
I am.
A motion to approve the following ARPA grants, or the ARPA grants that were presented by the very capable Sean Wilkinson today.
And I'd be happy to second that with a comment, if I might. Yes. So I just want to thank the team that has taken the time to vet these applications. Mr. John Bond, yourself, Sean, Scott Parks. You know, as we went through the CARES Act, I think that was a pretty good lesson on the right path to take as we pass out these federal funds. Again, this is an opportunity that Weber County had to help those in infrastructure that needed it, with the concentration on water, sewer, and other needs, which I think if you look at that list is a clear indication we've been able to accomplish what that is. Now, we still have some work left. We're not done yet, but I feel very confident that the dollars that we're putting forth with the process that's set up and the contracts that are in place, that these funds will do what they're intended to, which is to benefit Weber County and the community and its citizens, water, sewer, and other infrastructure.
Very good. So I have a motion and a second. I would like to also make a comment here. I agree with what you've both said. We've worked hard on this and gone through this, and these have qualified, and I'm very happy. You know, these are funds that we don't necessarily agree with, but we got. And they're generational type programs here that we've awarded them to. So as time goes on and our children end up paying for these funds, at least they'll know they got a good benefit out of them. Something they would have paid for either way. So I'm very happy. I think we've been very wise in doing this. So I'll call it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That passes. Thanks, Sean. All right, next item is approval of contract by and between Weber County and the Utah Youth Rodeo Association for the Utah Youth Rodeo 2022 through 2023 at the Golden Spike Center. Duncan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pretty excited about this one. We wrapped up the 2022 Utah Youth Finals on Saturday. Fairly successful. This is the first time that we've moved it kind of outside of the fair to help with logistics of things, and it went pretty successfully. This new contract is for this next coming year. A little bit of sponsorship trade on some rates. We love investing in the young cowboys because we hope that they come back and continue to be barrel racers and team ropers in the future. So that's what this contract is.
Very good. Questions, Commissioners?
And I just a little statement.
Yeah.
You know, when we started this Utah Youth Rodeo 29 years ago, we did it with the intent that the people from Weber County would be on that national stage. And of course, the Wright brothers dominate that down there in Beaver County, but they're no stranger to our facilities up here. They were just here in the last few weeks, and I just wanted to point out that now the highest proponent of, and I can't say this with a perfect knowledge, but I'm 90% sure that the majority of the people who do the best in rodeo are now have been to the Golden Spike Event Center within the last, 30 years. Those cowboys, those little kids are now professionals, and they're very good. So we've made a big impact on this. I remember seeing a youth type rodeo at the fair back in 1994 and thought, why don't we do this more often? Let the kids have a chance to. It's kind of like youth playing at the Weber State. Have a chance to play where the big boys do, and they've loved it ever since. And so thanks so much to the help of all the parents along the way too. Duncan, this is a good one. I fully support it. And when you're ready for a motion, I'd move that we support this 2022-2023 Utah Youth Rodeo contract with the county.
Second.
Very good. Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. Thanks, Duncan.
Before I step away, I apologize for not wearing my normal dress attire, but it is Fair Week.
Right.
It starts tomorrow. We're really excited. The carnival is finishing setting up. The junior livestock animals are starting to show up and get weighed. Exhibitors are there. The vendors are showing up. So make sure Wednesday through Saturday you show up to the fair.
We'll be out there.
Be there.
I can tell you that Commissioner Froer pays more per pound for meat than about any active seller or buyer you've got. I'm really proud of him for that.
And then he's got that goat now and he can't kill it because his granddaughter loves it.
Still walking around.
It needs a friend. Needs a friend.
Oh, yeah, needs a friend. That's right. All right. Item 4 is request for approval of contract by between Weber County and the State of Utah Attorney General's Office for forensic interview, a forensic interview grant. Mrs. Stephanie Ebert.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
So we were able to see a presentation this morning on a great program that we have that benefits a lot of youth, and I've got a couple of contracts. Item The next two items are contracts or agreements that we have with the Attorney General's office with the state for our Children's Justice Center. And again, that's another great program, in my opinion, that we have here at Weber County. And it provides services that are imperative to young children who have been in not very good situations. So both of these contracts help in the funding of that center and that program that we have. The first one is $40,000 a year for the next 5 years, and that provides funding for our forensic interview services for that center. And the next one, if I can kind of group them together, if that's okay with you. The other one is about $273,000 a year for the next 5 years. And together, these two contracts fund over a third of our funding that we receive for the Children's Justice Center. And so these agreements that we have with the state are very important in being able to maintain this program and keep it running. So the first one, as I mentioned, is a $40,000 grant for forensic interview services, and that primarily focuses on money that we receive for forensic or for the interviewing services that we contract with for these kids, or that we pay for our employees rather. And so I would just ask for your approval for these agreements.
So Steph, this comes out of our general fund, right?
Yes. So the Children's Justice Center is a department in our general fund, and as I mentioned, we get some federal funding, which is about 25% of our total funding for our budget. These two grants make up about almost 40%, and then the rest is funded by Weber County.
Great. All right, commissioners, questions? It's a good program. We've been involved with it a lot lately, especially if they're getting a new building or working towards that.
True.
No? I'm ready for a motion.
Well, first, if I may, we're sure glad you're here.
Well, thank you. Well, Rod couldn't be here. He's out of town, so he asked if I would help him out.
I meant here. Didn't mean right here. I meant here. Request, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that will, since in as much as the contracts are presented separately, I'll make the motion on the first one that we approve the contract between Weber County and the State of Utah, the Attorney General's office for the forensic interview grant.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. The next motion, or the next request, is for a contract between Weber County and the State of Utah Attorney General's office for the Children's Justice Center program grant. And that's been presented to us.
So move on that motion.
And second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Stephanie, we appreciate you being here presenting today, and this is a wonderful program for kids who have had trauma in their life. And of course, that's why it was created. Thank you.
Exactly.
All right, commissioners, today's been one of those days. It's been a rewarding day.
Good
We've had
meeting.
a lot of things that we've all worked a long time for that were presented and happened, and it's been very rewarding to me.
So we forgot to mention Tricia's here now with the CJC. She moved over. She defected from the mother country of the
that's right.
OECC, moved over. Welcome.
That's true. Well, Commissioner comments. Anything you either want to say?
Well, I'm excited about Fair Week.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a little warmish, but overall, I think we'll be able to survive it out there.
Well, not as hot as last year.
No, I think it's going to be a little cooler than last year, so I think we'll be good. So
Last year was 100 every day.
it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be better. So
And we got some nicer shirts this year.
hey, those shirts will keep us cool.
Those shirts
right?
are nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're welcome.
We only
Brett.
got 2 instead of 3, but that's okay.
We got a couple. Yeah, we can wash it.
I told Beck she's going to have to wash it.
And Beck probably says, do your own laundry, didn't she?
That's right.
Okay.
All right, one more motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All fair say aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned.